Pop star Marc Bolan has been killed. In the early hours of this morning, the car in which Bolan was a passenger collided with a tree in
Marc Bolan died on September the 16th, 1977. 18 years on, and it's still a painfully fresh memory for his fans and his friends.
I remember seeing the Hawdins pop star killed in car crash and didn't give it a second thought. I went into my studio and somebody said, "Did you hear about your mate?" He turned around and just came out with it, that Marc had been killed in a car crash. It was just utter disbelief.
The phone rang like 6 o'clock in the morning or before 6. It was very early. He said, "Have you heard?" I said, "No." I said, "What do you mean have you heard?" He said, "You better sit down." I said, "Oh, this is too early for me. It's not, not funny." He said, "No, sit down." And he said, "Marc had died." And I just got over the phone and I said, "Look, just call me back."
Marc's tragic death shook the rock world to its foundations, and the stars turned out in force to salute a true original.
I suppose if you're looking for somebody in the 70s who gave the first direction that the glam rock thing was coming, was Marc Bolan. I really think that.
The magic of Marc was that his music was unique. It didn't sound like anyone else. You knew that you were listening to Marc Bolan because of the kind of like vibrato in his voice and the rhythm section. He was very special.
Marc was always special. A precocious talent, he released his first single at the age of 18 before joining the band John's Children in 1965. He left in 1967 to form his own band, Tyrannosaurus Rex. Then, at the turn of the decade, he met percussionist Mickey Finn.
And he said, "Oh, do you want to be in my band?" And I said, "What band?" He said, "Just me and you." And I thought it was a joke. So I said, "Oh, let me think about it." And then we went to Wales, and then it just took off. Just went absolutely insane. And the next thing I knew, I was up on stage with all these kids screaming. I don't want to happen in between,
She ain't no witch, and I love the way she twitch, She ain't no witch, and I love the way she twitch, I'm a two-penny prince, and I give her hard love.
He dreamt, drunk, read music 24 hours a day. He was absolutely obsessed. And that's what pushed him forward, and that's how he was apart from everybody else, because he was so bloody dedicated to what he did.
As long as he was doing what was right, he was happy, but he could be just as unhappy very quickly. I found Marc quite impatient at times, but in saying that, it was still very spontaneous, and I think that's where the strength of recording was.
He put on a lot of niceties on the camera, and he put on the little Mr. Cutie when he was actually performing, But in real life, he was the same person.
Welcome to a show called Marc. That's me, if you don't know.
In both 1971 and 1972, T-Rex sold more singles than anyone else. Then Marc's career began to falter. The last top 10 hit came in the summer of '73, and shortly before his death, he tried to revive his flagging fortunes on TV.
Now we have a Bolan tip for the top.
Today, fan clubs, fanzines and even tribute bands combine to keep Bolan's name alive for a new generation of fans.
He was the innovator. If it hadn't been for Marc, there wouldn't be your Sweet, your Gary Glitter, your Alvin Stardust, a Wizard. I mean, to me, he'll never be dead. I mean, Marc, anyone that records music never dies. They obviously die bodily, but spiritually, to me, they'll always be there.
If you talk about Marc Bolan, from my view, of all the glam rock people, for pure talent, he's the one who's going to sit in the throne and wear the glam rock crown. He was super talented.
I thought it was important because I thought we were making some sort of statement. I don't know what sort of statement, you know. But I never knew it'd make such a great mark 20 years later, which is unbelievable. So we must be doing something right.
The songs are very memorable. I mean, they just do not date. If what you do speaks for yourself when you're alive, also years after when you're dead, then what more can anybody ask?